Hello friends, so now we will continue our previous implementation of hex keypad interface using VHDL or its realization on the FPGA board. So in previous lecture we have covered the I will just go through it fastly. We understood the logical implementation or understanding of this hex keypad, how we are detecting the particular key, so by using this design flow. Then we have understood this state diagram for the various rows, and we come across to the knowledge that now we know the knowledge, or we have a background of complete understanding of detecting a hex keypad key. Okay, so now we have to write a VHDL code. So for VHDL code, the code is divided again to three sections. One is the entity declaration. Usually there is definitely a library declaration, then entity declaration, and the architecture. In architecture also, I am dividing code in two different ways. Okay, so let us start with the entity declaration. For entity, we need a clock signal. So there is input. Row and column we are declaring as in out. Why in out? Because we are going to assign the values to row and column, as well as we are checking their values also. Okay, so that's what we are going to declare row and column as a in out. So usually in case of column we are assigning different values, and for row also we are comparing their input values. Now SSD out, we are going to use a 7 segment display. We no need to declare as in out, we are declaring as out only, so maybe it's typo mistake, and it's a 7 segment, so 6 down to 0. So this row and column are 4 columns, so 3 down to 0, 3 down to 0. And on our development board we have 6-7 segment. To control that 6-7 segment displays, we need a control signal like SSD 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Out of this we are going to enable only SSD 1 at a time. Okay, and all other remaining SSDs we are keeping as inactive. Okay, so for that purpose we need this control signal. So this much is our entity declaration. Then comes the architecture. So architecture, and between architecture and begin we can declare the internal signals, or whatever the data types we wanted to declare, we can declare it here. So the in previous lecture we have seen that we have written a one state diagram. Okay, so to use that state, various states, we need to declare user defined data type using the keyword type. So this is a enumerated data type with data type name of type underscore declare is, and we have declared various states, so S0, S1, S2 up to S17. Whatever the states we want, we have declaring here. But to use that data type we need a signal, and that signal name I am giving as a state with data type name of type declaration. So this is called as a enumeration or enumerated data type declaration. As well as one, see, whatever the operation we are going to observe, it is on the 12 megahertz. So on our development board the clock frequency is available at 12 megahertz, but if you perform all the operations on 12 megahertz, we cannot able to observe the exact particular value on the 7 segment display. Okay, right. So for that purpose we are dividing our clock a little bit. So for that, a divided clock we are going to use for the processing. So for that we are declaring a one signal clock divider and one count with a register bus value of 22 down to 0. So 23 bit counter value we are going to use it, and that counter we are running on our 12 megahertz, and after that this clock divider clock we are going to use for the further processing to detect the particular hex key. So this is second section, and the third important section is the writing a VHDL code for the clock divider. So for this also I will recommend to go back and watch our earlier video where I have explained there are two types of clock dividing methods. One is using this register kind of method, so where we are declaring a counter as a multiple bit value like 22 down to 0. So it is a bus of 23 bit, and we keep running or keep incrementing that counter by 1 1 1. So we get divide by 2 clock concept in this method. There is another one method where we are going to detect exact clock. So there we are using the counter concept. So there are two videos, earlier videos, you can go and watch these videos. So using this method, if you probe count of 15th bit, so it is nothing but 12 megahertz divided by 2 to the power 15, that much of clock is divided, and on that clock now we are going to write our actual implementation. So this is clock division logic. On this clock underscore divide, on this signal, now we are going to write our actual hex keypad interface. Okay, so this code I have already written. So let us go back to the Xilinx ISE, create a project, and let's begin or write a VHDL code. Okay, so let's open the ISE. Now file, new project. So hex keypad. Okay, so I'm creating a new project, hex keypad. Next, finish. So here every time I'm using the same Xilinx FPGA family, that is XE3S50A, that is available on our board. So for better understanding, I will recommend to go back and watch our video like introduction to the FPGA development board. Now new source, VHDL module. So this is the entity name we are giving, hex keypad. Okay, next. Now here signal. So as I mentioned, clock is a signal, as well as we have a row comma column. Both are a type of in-out, as I discussed earlier, and bus width of 3 down to 0, as well as SSD underscore out. So just confirm it. So clock, row, column, in out, SSD out, 6 down to 0. So this is only out, bus width of 6 down to 0. So 7 segment means 7 bit, and we have 6 control signals for that particular SSDs. So SSD 1, SSD 2, SSD 3, SSD 4, SSD 5, and SSD 6 are all of type only out. Okay, so this creates our entity. Next, finish. So as usual it will create our library declarations, entity declaration, and the architecture. So this architecture body we are going to write now. Okay, so as well as now we are going to use a counter for the clock divider. So let's declare a very useful library, or we called as a package, which support the addition and subtraction operators. So entity declaration is over, architecture, behavioral of entity name is. Now here comes our declarations. Okay, signal declarations or data type declarations. I will mention as a signal declarations. Now here these many signals we have to declare, so I will just copy it. I will copy it and paste it here. Okay, so I have declared a type with a data type name of type declaration is, and we have declared a total state of S0 to S17 as per the our. So total S17 states we required for the state machine, right? S0 to S17. So that many states we have declared here, right? Then state, a signal state we have used for type declaration. Then clock divider, a single bit, and count of 22 down to 0. So total it's a 23 bit bus signal. Okay, now begin. Then here first process we have to write for a process for clock divider, right? So that process also we'll just copy it, Control C, after begin Control V, right? So this is the first process, this is for the clock divider, right? So here what we are going to do, if clock tick event and clock equal to 1, so on our board we have a 12 megahertz clock input or a reference clock. Okay, So our onboard reference clock is a 12 megahertz. On each rising edge, clock tick event and clock equal to 1. So this I have explained many times in my earlier examples. So on the rising edge we are detecting the clock. On that clock increment the count and count of 15. So if you can imagine, this count is declared as a bus vector of 22.20. Out of that only 15th bit we are taking. So it is little bit divided by 12 mega by 2 to the power of 12. So I will write in a comment. So this clock divider value will be 12 megahertz divided by 2 to the power of 15. You got it? So that much of clock is divided, and on that clock now we are going to execute our hex keypad interface. So here the process for hex keypad interface. Got it? So we have divided our logic into two sections in inside architecture also. One is for the clock divider and other one is for our actual hex keypad interface. So let's begin. So for that already I have written a code. So I am going to copy that code as it is. So step by step I will copy paste and I will explain one by one. So this section I will just copy. So paste it here. Now here the first statement came. Sorry, for that it will start with the process, again a new process. Okay, so process, so this process is depend on this divided clock. Please remember this process we are writing on this divided clock. Now if clock tick clock underscore divide tick event and clock underscore divide, so this is you will detect on the divided clock rising edge or positive edge we are detecting. On that what we are doing initially, see on our development board we have 6-7 segment display. In that we are only enabling 7 segment 1. So whatever the key we press, it will be show on the 7 segment 1. Why we are doing this? Because all these 7 segments are connected as a multiplexing. Multiplexing means whatever the 7 segment data we are pushing, it will go for all these 6 segments. Got it? Now this section understood. Now come next. Now case. So we are starting with the case, and our first condition I will start with the case S0. Now we are in a case state. Okay, so I will give a little bit for better understanding. I will give a tabs. Okay, now we are in a case state is, so we are going to use a case statement. Case state is, before that we are in a if statement. So that means on every rising edge it will do this, as well as it will check the state. Now let us assume we are in a S0 state. So go back to our state diagram. Now we are in S0 state. In S0 state what we have to do? We have to make column value is equal to all ones. So let's make it in S0 state. When we are in S0 state, column is equal to all ones and go to the state S1. So what we have written? State S1 right now. Now when in S1 state, when we are in S1 state, so this SSD out is equal to SSD out. So whatever the value of SSD out, earlier value it may be 0, 1, 2, 3, whatever, we are retaining as it is. Now here we are checking if row of 0 is 1, then we have to assign column is equal to 10000 and make a state is equal to S2. Now we are in S1. So let's go back here. We are in S0 state. Once you enter in the S1, if some key is pressed, now in S1 what we have to do? We have to check all these different conditions. So if row of 0 is 1, go to S2. If row of 1 is 1, go to S6. And while assigning value, column is equal to 10000. As well as if row of 2 is 1, S10, and if row of 3 is 1, S14. So let's come here. If row of 0, S2. If row of 1 is 1, right, go to S6. If row of 2 is 1, go to S10, and if row of 3 is 1, go to S14. In all the cases we are assigning initial value of column 10000. I hope this understood. And if nothing is pressed, stay in a same state, stay in a same state, and column value is 111. I hope this much we have understood. Now this also will give us one small tab. Okay, now go for the S2 state. Now S0 we have covered, S2 we have to go back. Now as per the S2 logic, okay, so copy for the S2. Okay, one by one will go. Control C. We are in S2 state, right? I'm making it little bit readable so it will be easy for everyone to read it. Now we are in a S2 state. If row of 0 is 1, we are in S2 state. If row of 0 is 1, that means 0 is detected, and we have to go back to the S1 state and column is equal to 111. So 0 is detected. So this is the decoding logic for 7 segment decoding logic for 0 to display the 0. SSD out we are making all zeros. So this again A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that concept, and state is equal to S1 and column is equal to all 1. You got it? So like that we are detecting these, we are detecting the 0 we have detected. Else if row of 0 is not 1, that means if row of 0 is 0, then we have to make column is equal to 0 1 0 0 and state is equal to S3. Now we have to then we have to go for the S3. We have to go for the S3 state. Again in S3 again we have to do the same implementation. So let's copy for the S3 also. So code for S3. I am doing this step by step so for your better understanding. Okay, now in S3 state, okay, now if in S3 state again we have to first check if row of 0 is 1. If it is 1, we are detecting 1, we are able to detect the 1. Otherwise go to the, if 1 is detected, go back to the S1 state and column is equal to 1 1. Else come back to the column is equal to 0 0 1 0 and state is equal to S4. Okay, so likewise we are going to repeat all the remaining conditions. So S4, so I will copy all these conditions, right? So this is applicable to all the conditions till this end process. Control C, Control V. I will just save it. Okay, so I will just correct it. Okay, I will just little bit do the arrangement. Okay, so I am able to finalize this code and I have made it readable, more readable. Now we are in let us say we are in S4 state, then S5, S6, S7. So exactly same logic we are following: S6, S7, S8, S9, S10, S11, S12 and S13. Okay, so this is for the row 3, then for row 3 14, 15, 16 and 17. So this is the code for same implementation. So it is just a repetition. So like that we have detected 0 1 2 3, then for row of 1 is 4 5 6 7, right? Then row of 2 values comes 8 9 A and B. Then for row of 3 is C D E and F, right? So here ends our algorithm. At the end we are going to the state S0, and if when others null, end the case then end if, this end if for this clock, then end process and the behavioral. So this completes our execution. So let's check any syntax is there, any syntax mistake is there. So let's go and check the syntax. Some error is there. So what is saying, object SSD out of mode out cannot be read. Okay, so because of here I have written SSD out is equal to SSD out, so we need to declare SSD out as a in out. Okay, got it. Control S. Looks like okay. Just do the synthesis. So once this synthesis completing, then we have to assign the pin to our particular FPGA development board and generate a executable bit file. Okay, synthesis also looks like completing. It will throw an error because this count signal, all values we are not using, so unused values it may throw as a warning, but usually warning will be avoided, or we will try to minimize the warnings in detail in future. So synthesis okay. Now we are not going to do the simulation here because this is little bit complex, so I will recommend by yourself you do this simulation by forcing each and every value, and otherwise we'll do this complete, we'll take this example in our test bench classes. So there we'll try to write a test bench for this big example. Okay, so I'm skipping this simulation, then directly we'll go for the implementation. For implementation, so coming back here we have to assign the pin assignment. Okay, so to implement this hex keypad, so on our board this is the hex keypad, this is the hex keypad. So this hex keypad we are going to connect this P4 port, and we are going to use this 7 segments. So out of that 7 segment, one will be active, all other we have already deactivated. So we are going to use this J6 and J7 header as well as P2 and P6 header. Okay, now this is the pin assignment for the hex keypad interface. So on board we have clock signal, that is P129. Then for SSD 1 to SSD 6, P10, P11, P7, P8, P3 and P5. So that is for the port 2. Port 2 we are going to connect to the port 7. Port 2 is connected to port 7. This port 7 contains the control signals, and port 6 contains the our 7 segment details like A, B, C, D, E, F and G segment. So that segment output is SSD 0. SSD 0 is nothing but P19, that represent the A segment, so one LED of that segment. Then for the column we are going to use this P4 header. So for column of 3 MSB is P141 first pin. So internally already it is detected and it's fixed one. Once you connect this J2 header to P4, this is the pin assignment. So let's begin to create a UCF file. So same method, new source, implementation constant file. This is for the hex keypad .ucf. Next, finish. So I am going to copy the same already written UCF file, paste it here. Similarly for row and column, already written, paste it here. Okay, so our clock is there, then SSD control signals are there, 7 segment signals are there, A, B, C, D, E, F, G segment, then 4 column and 4 rows. So our UCF file is created. Just say save it and generate a programming file. Okay, so we may have to wait for some time. So place and route is happening, so it will generate a bit file. Okay, so our bit file is generated. So open the FPGA programmer. So this is FPGA programmer from the Nemato Labs. Open the port. So I usually connect FPGA board to COM4 port. Now open the file. So latest generated bit file, we have to open it. So we have to go to hex keypad and hex keypad dot bit. Open it and just say the program. So I am shifting to the FPGA development board. Okay, so for that I have to connect a cable. So 7 segment cables are connected already. Let me check it. So programming is done. So let's check it. 0, yes, now 0, 0, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E and F. So this is the hex keypad interface using FPGA board. Now I will just try to explain the how these keys are detected. Okay, so as per the code, the initial state, in initial state what we are doing, we are assigning all columns as a logic 1. So 1 1 1 1. Okay, so let us assume if you press this key 0, so while pressing it and we are running at a few kilohertz, because the clock, whether we have divided it is a kilohertz clock or on our board it is a 12 megahertz clock. So on that clock it is running, so internally this scanning is happening very fastly. Even though if you press and release it, it happens immediately and gives the particular output. Now let us assume I have pressed this key 5. So what happens when you press this key 5, initially all columns becomes 1, this row value becomes 1. Immediately after becoming 1, it will go to the particular state. It will assign initially value 1 0 0 0. Then it will check immediately column is or row is 0 or 1. If it is 0, then it will go for the next state with changing the value of column is 0 1 0 0. Then accordingly it will check if row is 1. If row is 1, that means this 5 is detected. So the simple concept to detect the key is initially make all the columns 1. Okay, check the row, simple flow, make all the columns 1, check the rows. If that particular row is 1, then out of these 16 keys we come across only 4 keys, and then one by one make one column 1, check a particular key, make second column 1, check a particular key, make a third column, check a particular key, and make a last column. Definitely you are able to detect the all the keys. I hope you have understood this implementation, and I will recommend if you do by yourself, you will definitely understand it in a better way. The source code, the FPGA development board will be available for you based on your requirement. So keep watching the videos. So next few practical examples are coming. Thank you.